everybody, and welcome to the talk show of the Computer Science Master at Leiden University. My name is Katie Wollstonecroft. I'm an assistant professor at Leiden. I'm a lecturer on the programme, and I'm going to be your moderator for today's session. Before we start the session, I want to tell you a little bit about how it will work. First of all, we will have a brief round of introductions of all of our guests. We have representatives from the staff, current students, former students, and so together I hope we can give you a full picture of the course and the programme and what it can offer you. I will interview our guests about their experiences, and then after that we will have a live Q&A session. If we don't get through all of your questions in the live Q&A, please don't worry. There will be plenty of time after that for any of you to drop into our individual chat sessions to talk to us and other colleagues who are available to help you. So let's start with the round of introductions, and I will start with myself. I'm an assistant professor in bioinformatics. I teach courses in biomedical informatics and computational molecular biology and data integration. And I'm also the study advisor for the bioinformatics specialization on the course. I didn't start in computer science. I started in biochemistry at the University of Leeds as an undergraduate, and I moved to bioinformatics to do a master and a PhD in Manchester. After doing a postdoc and a research fellowship there, I started to work as a research fellow at the VU in Amsterdam. I realized I really liked the Netherlands very much and I wanted to stay. And so I started looking around for something more permanent in the Netherlands. And this opportunity at Leiden came up for me to start my own group here. And so I've been here ever since. So that's my background. I would like to pass the floor over to Matthijs. Can you please introduce yourself now?
Sure, thank you. Hello, my name is Matthijs van Leeuwen. I'm associate professor and also the program manager of the Master Computer Science at LIAX, the Leiden Institute of Advanced Computer Science. I've been at Leiden University since 2015. And well, in my role as program manager, together with the director of education and the education coordinator, I'm responsible for organizing the program. Myself, I teach a bachelor course on statistics, and in the master's program, I teach a course titled Information Theoretic Data Mining, which is really on topic of my own research area. In the past, I studied computer science at Utrecht University, after which I also did a PhD in data mining at that same university. Then I went abroad. I went to Leuven in Belgium for 4 years, where I did teaching and research. And after that, I also got the opportunity, like Katie, to start in Leiden. And ever since then, I've been there.
Okay, thanks, Matthijs. We also have a student here today. Sava, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you, Katie. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Safa. I'm a master's student in my second year currently. I graduated in 2019, bachelor ICT, Information Studies, at the University of Applied Sciences in The Hague. And that was University of Applied Sciences. So after that, I did a pre-master for 1 year. And currently I'm at my second years of the master's in the Specializations Foundations of Computing.
Okay, thank you, Sava. And finally, we have an alumnus here. Matthias, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hi, my name is Matthias. Besides being an alumnus, I've started at LIAX in 2017 and finished in 2020. I am now a teaching PhD. That entails that I give an introductory course to Python, to astronomy, physics, and math students. And of course, I also research as a promovendus, and that research is on transfer and reinforcement learning and procedural content generation, both topics that you can also follow in classes during the master, where you will also, if you do, see me as a TA in the classes. So yeah, both very good reasons to study here. Interesting topics.
Okay, thank you, Matthias. Thank you, everybody. Let's get started with the interview. My first question is for Matthijs. Could you tell us why the computer science program in Leiden is special? is good about this program? Why should people choose it?
Well, I think there are quite some reasons for choosing our computer science program, but let me give you 3 reasons that I think are particularly important. And the first one is that our master's program offers a lot of freedom. So you can choose one of 7 specializations. That's already quite a lot to choose from. So we have advanced computing and systems, artificial intelligence, bioinformatics, data science, foundations of computing, computer science and education, and computer science and science communication and society. So that's already a lot to choose from, as I said, but even within each specialization, after choosing that, you still have significant flexibility to compose your own study plan by choosing electives, choosing how to do your own research project, and so on. The second reason is that, well, with a few hundred students in total now, our program is slowly growing over the past years, but still it's relatively small scale, which makes for a very friendly and personal atmosphere that many students, but also lecturers enjoy. And the third reason is that all our lecturers are also researchers themselves. And this means that all our courses are research driven and cover the state of the art in computer science. And this means that our students, when they leave us, they can be ensured that they are equipped not only with academic skills, but also with up-to-date knowledge of the field.
Okay, thank you, Matthijs. I'd like to pass the same question to our students. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about why you chose this program. Sava, can we start with you, please?
Yeah, so, well, in 2019, after I graduated, I felt like I still wanted to learn more. So, and that was the right time to continue my studies. So I visited a lot of universities throughout the Netherlands. I went to a lot of open days, of which Leiden, of course. And for me, Leiden, even though it wasn't the closest to where I was living, I felt like it gave me the warmest impression. Like Matthijs already said, it feels very small scale, even though it's a pretty big university. Besides that, the curriculum, even though all the master programs are called computer science, I feel like the curriculum itself kind of differs between the universities. So I also took a look at that. And for me, Leiden gave me the broadest range of some topics that really interested me. So yeah, a few of the courses that really drew me to, well, Leiden was, for example, high performance computing, quantum algorithms, and psychology of programming. So yeah, in the end, Leiden gave me the best impression, and that's why I ended up here.
Okay, thank you, Sava. And the same question to you, Matthias.
Well, for me, it's also been a very well thought through decision. I did my bachelor's and started a master in Germany, very different system. The bachelor was in a University of Applied Science like Sava, and the regular university in Germany was very theory focused. Like you didn't have any assignments, you didn't have to program anything. And I didn't really like that. I did an Erasmus semester here in Leiden then, and instantly fell in love because this is the perfect fusion of theory and application. Because as Matthijs mentioned, this is research driven. So we're always looking at the newest papers, what are people doing? And you always have assignments that you have to look at stuff and apply it. So it feels a bit like University of Applied Science, while it is a real regular university. And that is, I think, one of the strength points. And the second thing is the freedom that Matthijs mentioned earlier. It's not only about being able to choose between a lot of courses, but within those courses, you usually have one free project where you can find a cool topic within a range. And yeah, that just helps in deepening the understanding and getting motivated.
Okay, thank you. So maybe a follow-up question to that, Matthias. Could you tell us a little bit more about a cool project, something that you did during the program that fits this description?
Yeah, that was not really during a class. I think that's also been canceled now. The research project, you only do a thesis now, but my research project was nice because that was in a Concertgebouw in Amsterdam, where I helped them automate their camera schedule with the software. And my master's thesis is the master's is of course also very free. And there I did different AI agents for my favorite board game, Tetris Link, which of course after the master's thesis wasn't my favorite game anymore, but I learned a lot about AI, and that you will do as well here.
Okay, thank you. And maybe Sava, can you tell us something about interesting internships, cool projects that you did already?
Yeah, so one project that I really enjoyed was for the course Computational Creativity. So in that course, the question is what is creativity and how can we model that in a program? So for the final project, I implemented an AI that could generate piano music. So it would start off creating a piece of piano music, and then the user or the human continues that piece, and then the computer will finish the song basically. So in a way, in a sense, the computer is kind of creative with the human. So that was really interesting for me, and it's also kind of an example of what Matthias said. We did have a description of what to research, but how we implemented it and what we wanted to do exactly was totally up to us ourselves. So I really enjoyed that freedom in a lot of projects that you have.
Okay, thank you, Sava. So this leads me to my next question. Matthijs, could you say something about the research opportunities that students can expect to get from this program?
Yes, of course. So Matthias and Sava have already just explained that how small research projects are part of, in fact, most of the courses in the curriculum. This gives students hands-on experience with many aspects of doing research, as running experiments, writing reports. And this is important because ultimately this all leads to the cherry on top of the cake, which is the thesis research project at the end of the program. And this is a rather large research project that each student conducts individually at the end of their studies, supervised by one or two of our experienced researchers. And this research project is I said, it's pretty large. In fact, it entails 42 credits, meaning that the project spans roughly 7 months of full-time work in total. So you really have the time to dive deep into a very specific research topic and contribute to that on an international level. So this is a great opportunity to do research embedded in one of our research groups, and we have a fairly large number of them. But you can also visit a research group abroad and do research there. Alternatively, if you would like to do something more applied research, then it's also possible to do a research internship at a company or organization as part of the thesis research project. And there you can gain some more hands-on experience of how it is to do research or applied research in a company.
Okay, thanks, Matthijs. So there are lots of opportunities in research, and we've already heard about lots of good experiences in the course. I wonder if we can now think a little bit about the challenges that students face during this course. So Matthias, if you look back, were there certain courses and projects that you actually found difficult and challenging?
Well, they seemed difficult and very challenging or unovercomable at first, especially, for example, Matthias' nice course called Information Theoretic Data Mining. When I first sat in the lecture, I was quite scared. There were so many math formulas and it was very abstract and I had no clue what was happening. But as I mentioned earlier, a lot of free projects. I still got a nice, decent grade, and I'm pretty sure I understood most of the content I should, because I was able to find a cool project that motivated me to look into the topic and work on it. And it wasn't just do this assignment, give the correct answer, but find something that you like and do something with it.
Okay, thank you. And Sava, what have you found most challenging so far?
So for me, the most challenging part was finding a good schedule for myself. You have a lot of freedom of how to decide. Well, you can decide your own working hours outside of the lectures, of course. So you really have to plan your time well. And especially during COVID, that was really hard for me. But luckily, I could always go to the study advisors, study coaches, and they really helped me out during that time. And if if I'm attending a lecture and I don't understand something, I could always send an email to the lecturer. I can always ask my fellow students, ask the teaching assistants. I felt like that was always, they were always very happy to help. So there's a lot of good people you can go to if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. So Matthijs, can I ask you the same question? What do you see that students typically struggle with, and how would you recommend that they prepare for the program?
Yeah, so what I see some students struggle with is that they realize they have some deficiencies only after having started their studies. And this is quite troublesome as the pace in our program is quite high. And so each semester, students take 5 courses, and well, as we've covered, almost each of those 5 courses has some kind of project that requires implementation, writing a report, and so on. And this pace makes it very hard to catch up on certain knowledge or skills while studying if you don't have them before starting. And so we expect students to have knowledge on topics such as data structures, algorithms, and they should be fluent programmers in at least Python or C++ already before starting our master's program. So we really expect students to have already a bachelor's degree in computer science. So to give you a better idea of what we expect, if you go to the information pages for the Master Computer Science, and if you choose a specific specialization that interests you, if you there now choose about the program, that you will find a heading titled, "Are you ready for this program?" And there it lists like specific requirements, like minimum requirements for what you should know and be able to do before starting the program. So I really strongly recommend prospective students to take this into consideration if you consider applying, and also if you have some deficiencies, to have a plan to remedy this before applying to the program already, so that you can, if you are allowed to start, that you really have a good start also. And if you're in doubt, please contact one of our study advisors.
Okay, thank you, Matthijs. And related to this, in the on-demand presentation, you mentioned that students from applied universities, HBOs, typically need to do a bridging program before they start. What kind of recommendations do you have for them?
Yeah, so for all students coming from applied university, HBO, we strongly recommend to contact the study advisor as earlier as possible, and at least 1 month before the application deadline. So this gives you, and together with the study advisor, time to look into your personal situation and to compose an individual bridging program that is almost always needed. So applying without doing this, so without consulting the study advisor in advance, will typically result in a rejection. And so it's obviously better to avoid that.
Okay, thank you, Matthijs. I think now is a good time to move on to the next stage of our talk show, which is the live Q&A session. So I would like to invite our audience members, if you have any questions, to please post them in the presenters wall, and we can discuss them all together. So we don't have any questions coming through yet. As far as I can tell. Matthijs, do you see anything on the
No, I don't see
messages
questions
section?
either.
Okay. So please don't be shy if there's anything you want to know. We're all here to answer your questions. You don't have to say anything, you just have to type the questions in and I will report them to everybody else. So we have one question here. I was wondering how many students are in each of the specializations, since there are so many specializations? Matthijs, I guess that question is for you.
Well, of course, I can answer this, but maybe we should actually ask those who participated in the students more recently than I did. So maybe Safa, you could say a little bit how many students are in a single course?
In a course, I think it really depends. I think it ranges from the minimum, I think, is like 15, really minimum. And then the maximum, I think, is maybe 70, 80. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, of course, some courses are more popular than others. For the specialization itself, I'm not exactly sure about statistics, I guess. But the specialization I do, Foundations of Computing, yeah, it's a small group, but I kind of like it because you get to know each other. And of course, yeah, specialization, I think AI is the biggest. Yeah.
Yeah, so from a program perspective, we aim to keep have a diverse offer of courses, and that means also different formats, different course formats, and it also means that you have different sizes, so different number of participating students. So we have a very few small scale seminars now, and those have a maximum of 12 participants. So then you are really in a small group where you can go deep and have discussions and so on. But yeah, we also have courses that are very popular, like advances in data mining and deep learning. And those are also followed by students from related master's programs within our Faculty of Science. And then you have up to 200 participants. So yeah, it strongly depends. And I think what is nice for you as a student is that, well, in your curriculum, there will always be some small scale courses and some large scale ones. And yeah, that you can benefit from both.
Okay, thank you, Matthijs. We have a couple of other questions coming through now. One question is about the bioinformatics specialization. Is it suitable for someone with an undergraduate degree with a biological background? I guess that question is for me. So we do recommend at least 90 EC of computer science credits from your bachelor to be suitable for the course, because it leans very heavily on the computer science side of bioinformatics. So if you have a regular biological background, it's probably necessary to think about doing some bridging programs. If you have already taken computer science courses as part of your bachelor, then you are probably the kind of person that we're looking for. And so I would encourage you to come and talk to me about that, and we can look at your undergraduate program against the requirements for the bioinformatics specialization and see where there are deficiencies. Because it's an interdisciplinary topic, everybody comes to it from a slightly different background. Everybody has different skill sets, and I think that's one of the good things about the bioinformatics specialization. You learn a lot from each other on the course as well. Okay, we have many more questions now. So I have a bachelor degree from applied mathematics from TU Delft. Do you have any experience with mathematics students coming into your program? And what is the typical required bridging program? Matthijs, I think that's for you.
Yeah, so in general, if you have a degree in mathematics without a lot of computer science courses already, it will be very hard to switch, because a bridging program can be at most 30 credits. And to be admissible to the computer science master, you need at least 90 credits of computer science courses in total. So that means that you would have to have in any prior degree already at least 60 credits of computer science courses. So with applied mathematics, depending on the content, I'm not sure for this particular program, it may be possible, but it may also be too large a gap to bridge.
Okay, so again, probably it's good to talk to the study advisor if you're not sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, the next question, it's again about the bioinformatics specialization. It's popular today. Is there a particular emphasis on biology or the computer science aspect? I think I answered this a little bit already. To some extent, when it comes to doing your thesis project and projects within the courses, you can choose. If you lean more towards biology, then you can choose projects that lean that way. But of course, because it's based in computer science, everything that you do will have a computer science basis. And so typically for the thesis project, we have students who are embedded in groups at the LUMC and biology and other places around the campus, looking at computer science aspects of the bioinformatics that they do in those groups. I hope that answers your question there. We have some more general questions. Is there an opportunity at the start of the year to orient on the elective courses, since there are so many? So yeah, maybe who can I ask that? Maybe Sava, how did you go about choosing your electives and filtering out your favorites?
So what I usually do, I make a list for myself of maybe the top 10 courses that are available. What I then do is I attend all of them in the first week. And usually that list becomes a bit smaller. So yeah, there is also the lecturers know, the teachers know that the first week people are still orienting. So you can follow the first lecture and see if it's something for you or not. And based on that, you can make your own decision on the electives.
Yeah, here I should add a few words because we probably have to change this soon, as in probably as of September. So Leiden University is changing its enrollment and registration sort of regulations for courses, meaning that you have to enroll already before the semester starts. So we're still looking into how to solve this exactly, because we also see that choosing based only on the study guide is far from ideal. So we want to do something, but I cannot yet say in detail how we will do this.
Okay. The next question is more about research projects. Is it difficult to find your own topic for research projects? I think this person is maybe a little worried about being able to find a suitable project. So maybe Matthias, I can ask you this question.
Yeah, I'd like to chip in there. So I wouldn't be scared about that, because you follow a lot of classes, you get to know the teachers, the professors, and you get to know their field. So you know somewhat what you could research on, and you can always ask the professor as well. They usually have something in store. For example, my research project that I told, the edit conceptgebouw that I mentioned earlier, that was given to me by my supervisor after I asked him, or pitched to me, and then I said, yeah, that sounds nice. And yeah, if you don't find a professor, you can also try to find a company and then find a professor that likes the topic of the company. So there's a lot of options, and I wouldn't be scared about it.
Okay, thank you. I think we have another question for you, Matthias. Someone who is studying at a large research university in Germany. What are the differences or benefits that Leiden has compared to that? I think you maybe answered this a little in the talk show.
I don't know whether the university I was at in Germany is a research university. It's the Ludwig-Maximilian-Universität in München. The main problem I had with the German university was that you can just ignore the 80% of the semester. You don't have to be anywhere. You don't have to do anything. There's just the professor standing in front giving his lecture. And sometimes there might be like a work group or a lab. And then at the end of the semester, you write an exam about it. And I really didn't like that, because yeah, you stress learn for 2 weeks and then you forget it. But here in Leiden, you constantly have to do assignments, usually every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the class, sometimes longer. And that forces you to apply what you learn. And that, I think that's just a lot better.
Okay, thank you. I think you've partially answered another question. So what are the primary study activities, lectures, assignments, projects? Do you use flipped learning? I think, Matthijs, maybe you can add to this.
Yeah, so indeed, I think lectures, assignments, projects are all used, and it also very much depends on the course. So if you have a very small scale seminar with 12 students, this is very different from a course with 200 students, and this also is reflected in the study activities. And it also depends on the lecturer and the topic. But there's some courses are more like old school, where you have the lecture and then you go do your homework and the projects. But others are indeed more flipped learning, where you read a paper or some other material before class and then you discuss that in class. I think it's a mixture of all kinds of modes.
Okay, thank you. So we have a question about researching outside of the university. Do you have any examples of internships at a company, and what would that internship typically look like? Who can I give this question to? Maybe Matthijs?
Yeah, I think Sava and Matthias have no experience with that, right? No. Okay, yeah, so if you do an internship, which is always has to be part of the thesis research project, this means that you do a research project that benefits the company usually, because, well, they like to have the interns for that. And also there should be some research component in there. And that's why you also get supervision from the supervisor at Leiden University, at our institute, because you need to make sure that it also has some scientific merit, because it still has to result in this master's thesis in the end. And yeah, what could this include? This depends a lot on the specific topic. But for example, we have a lot of AI and data science students, and they typically do then some kind of and maybe some data analysis, data science project at a company where they have data and they want to do some prediction and or anomaly detection or some other kind of understanding based on data, and the student in charge then develops a method or compares different methods to get the results. And you can either find an internship yourself, but we also have collaborations also for our research projects with many companies. So for example, ASML, Tata Steel, there are many others. If you go to our website, I think you can also find examples of that. So there's a lot of opportunities to do this, but like I said, it has to be part of the thesis research project, which means that it's both like some practical applied research component, and there has to be some scientific merit in terms of that can be used for the thesis.
Okay, thank you, Matthijs. Is there a set amount of students for each specialization? Do we have limits there?
No, the answer is short. No, there's no numerous fixes for any of the specializations. So everything is merit-based. If you're eligible for admission, then you're allowed to join and to enroll.
Okay, that's very clear. And related to that, I suppose, when are the application deadlines for 2022-23? Can you start in the summer and the fall?
Yes, that's a good question. So first, yes, we have 2 starting moments per year. Those are September and February, when our semesters start. And then the admission deadlines, you can find them if you go to the student website and you go to master's application admission, then application deadlines. Then you can find the deadlines. And it depends on whether you need a visa or residence permit or not. So if you need a visa or residence permit, then if you would like to start in September, you should apply before April 1st. If you do not need a visa or residence permit, then you must apply for admission before June 15th. And that's for September. And the other dates are 15 October and December 1st. But like I said, you can find all these dates on the website so you don't need to remember them all.
Okay, thanks, Matthijs. And I guess if people are asking that question, then we've done a nice job of selling the program to our audience today. So I think that was the last question on the presenter wall.
I still see two of them.
Oh, okay. Please go ahead then. I don't see them here.
So the first one is, I am a bachelor student in mathematics and physics, and I'm interested in following a master in artificial intelligence. Is it possible to do this? Do you know people who have done something similar? So I think here my answer is similar to the answer to the student who was studying mathematics before. Usually also in physics nowadays there is some also Python or sometimes some deep learning. So if you have already done a fair amount of computer science, then yes, it may be possible to do a bridging program, a pre-master. But like I said, if you need at least already 60 credits in computer science before you start a pre-master, because that can be at most 30 and you need 90 credits in total. And if you're interested, then I would suggest writing the study advisor to learn more about this. And then the last question that I see is, when you say that many courses have projects, does this mean that for almost every course it will be like a tiny thesis project, or are these projects more like guided programming assignments? And maybe Sava can respond to this question first.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So when you say that many courses have projects, as we said, does this mean that for almost every course it will be like a tiny thesis project, or are these projects more like guided programming assignments?
So I think it differs. For example, Game AI, Matthias assists that. If I recall correctly, there's 3 projects in total, 2 of which are smaller assignments, and then 1 is bigger. But yeah, the courses really differ. So sometimes you have weekly homework, which you do by yourself, and sometimes you have 1 final project. And sometimes you have smaller projects in between. So it really differs, but of course, during the work, I'm not sure how you say it in English, the work collages, werkcollages, you can go there, there's a study assistant, and you can work on your project, and if you have any questions, they will be there, and you can ask them for help. And you can always email your, always email your teacher for that. So yeah, it is very much guided, I would say. You can, it's not like they're gonna say, here's your assignment, we'll see you in a month. It's always, if you can always send questions.
I'd also like to chip in there because I think it was more about the size of the assignment, how much time you would have to put in like the free projects. As Sava said, they're usually guided. For example, in the social network analytics class, it is a free project, but it's like you get 10 papers and then you choose one and you have to go from there and see where you get. But I wouldn't say that they're tiny thesis projects. It's more like a big assignment, yeah. Like, and most of them are guided in some way.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no further questions, then I think it's time to move on to the third part of the talk show. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to our guests today for sharing their experiences, Sava and Matthias from the student perspective, and Matthijs from the lecturer and coordinator perspective. Thank you all for listening to us today. I hope you have found the answers you're looking for. I hope the program sounds interesting to you. If you have any more questions, you want to know more, then please join us at the individual chat sessions. And maybe we'll see you in Leiden next semester. Thank you.